Putin says to Mark Zuckerberg, "It's over." We are all aware of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. It is getting worse by the day, as more innocent people die. This has led many companies to stop their operations in Russia, as some sort of punishment. But why did Putin tell Mark Zuckerberg that it is over? Stay tuned to find out. Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today's video will look at why Putin would tell Mark Zuckerberg that it is over. What is over? Let's find out. The ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine has dramatically affected the whole world in one way or another. Many innocent people have been killed, especially by the Russian invaders. In addition to this, many companies have suffered significant losses, as they all chose to stop their production and services in Russia. For example, most car companies have all stopped the production of cars in Russia and the shipment of spare parts. However, international companies are not feeling the effects of losses, but the locals in Russia can handle them. A lot of their businesses have had to come to a halt. One of the companies that have made a move against Russia is Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. However, the Russian authorities have completely blocked access to Facebook at the moment. This follows the platform's restrictions on state-owned media. Later on, Roskomnadzor, the Russian state communications regulator, also said that access to Twitter was prohibited. Facebook, along with its sister platform Instagram, has removed Russia Today and Sputnik from appearing in the European Union recently. The same was also done with the UK. The two are Russia's top media services, owned by the state. This drew the attention of the Russian communications regulator, prompting him to give an immediate response. According to the Roskomnadzor's watchdogs, since October 2020, there have been 26 cases of discrimination against Russian media by Facebook. Not only that, but Facebook also restricted access to state-backed news services, such as the RIA news agency. The regulator claims that Facebook is violating the rights and freedoms of Russian nationals by doing this. This led them to place some sort of temporary block on Facebook. The president of global affairs at Meta announced that they would cut off millions of ordinary Russians from some critical information by blocking the platform. They would also be deprived of communication with friends and family, meaning that they would literally be silenced from speaking out. We will continue to do everything we can to restore our services, so they remain available to people to safely and securely express themselves and organize for action, Nick Clegg, the president of global affairs at Meta, said. Meta did this shortly after a new bill was passed in Russia. The bill intentionally spreads what Moscow deems fake news a crime. The bill was quickly approved by the two houses of parliament, controlled by the Kremlin, and later signed by Putin himself. According to the statement, you could be imprisoned for up to 15 years for spreading information not following the Russian government's narrative on the war. Once the bill was passed, most outlets decided to pause their work inside Russia, to evaluate the situation and see whether it would be safe to broadcast news again. CNN said it would not broadcast in Russia, among these outlets. Bloomberg and the BBC, on the other hand, decided to suspend their work and their journalists in Russia, but only temporarily. Russia is doing its best to control how the information about the invasion of Ukraine is being spread. It is also trying to make a move against independent news sources. It closely follows the blocks set by the BBC, the US government-funded Voice of America, and Radio Free Europe/Radio Liberty. It is also keeping a close eye on German broadcaster Deutsche Welle and Meduza, a Latvia-based website. Meta blocked RT and Sputnik in the UK, primarily because of a letter from the Culture Secretary, Nadine Dorries. The letters were written to TikTok, Twitter, and Meta. Meta has already blocked the news organization across the whole EU. One of the Meta spokespersons said, "Earlier this week, we announced that we'd be restricting access to RT and Sputnik across the EU. Consistent with that action, and after a request from the UK government, we will also be limiting access to RT and Sputnik in the UK at this time." Meta later announced that it had taken down one of the disinformation networks, mainly targeting the people in Ukraine. The network was composed of about 40 accounts, pages, and groups on Facebook and Instagram. According to a blog post, Meta's head of security policy, Nathaniel Gleicher, and the director of threat disruption, David Agranovich, confirmed that the networks mainly were run from either Russia or Ukraine. They both said they were operated from Russia and Ukraine and targeted people in Ukraine, across multiple social media platforms and through their own websites. "We took down this operation, blocked their domains from being shared on our platform, and shared information with other tech platforms, researchers, and governments," David Agranovich said. Another reason for Instagrams being blocked in Russia was that Meta kind of allowed Putin's hate speech to go on. Meta announced that they would not block any calls for violence against the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, and the Russian soldiers. The latter are involved in the invasion of Ukraine from appearing on the social media platform. Russian prosecutors recently demanded that access to Instagram be blocked. This was after the media reported on the relaxation of its policies on hate speech, which were related to the war. In a statement, Russia's General Prosecutor's Office made a move to classify Meta as an extremist organization, and all its activities were banned from operating in the territory of Russia. Russia has also claimed that the platform, Instagram in this case, has been used to incite mass riots accompanied by violence. Most Russian regional governors even went further by deleting their Instagram accounts. This was reported by the RIA Novosti state news agency. As we all know, Facebook, which has already been blocked by the Russian government, Instagram, and WhatsApp are all part of Meta. As WhatsApp is the most used and popular application in Russia, it is hard for government regulators to target it, since doing so would put communication across most countries on hold. With the banning of the social media giant, Russian citizens are now limited to accessing the world's information about the war, increasing the influence of state media. The decision to allow speech targeting Russians, who are part of the invasion of Ukraine by Meta, was an act of corporate activism. It was influenced mainly by hundreds of brands, leaving the Russian market. This invasion of Ukraine has left thousands dead. It has led to a major refugee crisis in Europe, which has seen more than 2 million people fleeing from Ukraine. This is only after 2 weeks of the war. Meta's head of global affairs, Nick Clegg, said that the company's changes to speech would only be allowed in Ukraine. He supported these policies by saying that they were focused on protecting people's rights to speech as an expression of self-defense, in reaction to a military invasion of their country. According to him, the company does not have any issues with the Russian people, and there was no change in hate speech as far as the Russian people are concerned. He said that the changes were mostly temporary, and the situation would be kept under review. On this matter, a Meta spokesperson gave an earlier statement and said, "As a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we have temporarily made allowances for forms of political expression that would normally violate our rules, like violent speech such as death of the Russian invaders. We still won't allow credible calls for violence against Russian civilians." Meta also sent an email to the moderators highlighting a change in its hate speech policy, which pertains to both Russian soldiers and Russians in the context of the invasion. The email read, "We are issuing a spirit of the policy allowance to allow T1 violent speech that would otherwise be removed under the hate speech policy when A. targeting Russian soldiers, except prisoners of war, or B. targeting Russians where it's clear that the context is the Russian invasion of Ukraine, example, content mentions the invasion, self-defense, etc." What do you think about Russia's banning of Meta services in their country? Do you believe Meta made the right choice here? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos. Hit that bell icon to catch the latest video as soon as it's out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.